So anyway, we will go ahead and read Christina's question just for the record here. And hello, universe. We are answering some questions here for our lunch break lessons. And Nikki has joined us, and Christina's on her way. So her question was, how do you support a horse in the moment if they're about to react, spook at something on the trail, i.e. stopping in her tracks at a boulder ahead and giving it a wide berth while staring at it like a llama, which I think we all have been there, huh? So I'm going to go ahead and do a share screen here so we can check out this video. Put link in there as well. Okay. So, can you see that all right?
Yep.
Is a bag with some hair in it, kind of.
Well, I didn't mean to start it, but here we are. All right. Didn't actually mean to start it yet there, but anywho, that's the video. Can you hear me okay? It's switching back?
Yeah.
There we go.
I can hear.
Okay. All right. So we'll talk like Christina's here, but she's not here yet. So this video, I would say, is preparation for how to handle the answer to the question, but I am going to keep in mind that she is specifically asking about what to do in the moment. And I think it's important to note that what I would do in the moment really is exactly the same. It's just going to look different than it does here. Here, because we're preparing for that moment in a situation we can control. You know, the reactions from Buttercup are quite small. We can see these little tensions and things, but it's not any big explosions. And maybe on the actual situation, it's a much bigger reaction or bigger deal, which maybe means I have to be bigger in how I speak to her. So in this video, I can kind of do subtle, small movements. Buttercup can hear me because she's not too much over the threshold there. And that's fine. In the scenario that Christina's asking, whether you've done preparation or not, I'm going to try to do the same thing. I just may have to move bigger or have bigger hand motions or a bigger something they can see or feel or hear, just because their mind is so far lost in the thing that they're worried about compared to this situation. So it is kind of still my same answer. I may pause it at times and discuss how it might be different in the moment, but in a lot of ways it's going to be the same thing. She specifically in her question talks about her giving the boulder a wide berth, so she's not keeping her bend. If we talk about banana bend in this video here, it's we need to find out when can we take a step forward and not give it a wide berth. We don't keep going until she's able to take that one step and able to even rock towards it, towards the scary thing at whatever distance that requires. So let's say the rock is on her right. I want to create a left bend to make sure she can shift towards the scary thing, even if I have to get farther from it to achieve that. So is that making sense to you?
Yep.
All right, so let's go back to our video and I'll dive ahead a little bit on it. Okay.
Bit about how she's feeling. At this point, I had never worked with her on something like this. So her ability to do a specific turn on the haunches and stop where I asked with her bum to this bag basically tells me a bit about where she is mentally with the whole thing, which I think is pretty good. I think she's doing pretty great. We come up, we back up to it. Again, I'm thinking about her balance above the train tracks and her straightness in her body as we approach it. For Buttercup, I'm also noticing if she is engaging with it, and here she definitely has been. She's been engaging and touching the bag and things like that. When she's willing to engage with the bag, I know she's working on it and not just tolerating it. There's times that she
Well, hello, Christina.
Hello, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Oh, look at the cutie. Look at the cute man. So I did just say this, but I'm going to say it again since you're here now. This video is technically, I would definitely consider this preparation for the question you asked about, not like an exact example of what you asked about, but essentially my answer is the same. It's just that it won't look quite as tidy and calm in your scenario as it does with Buttercup here. So essentially, I'm going to be asking her, like you had mentioned in your question, her giving it a wide berth, like she can't step near the thing, she's bending the wrong way, looking at it, that kind of a thing. In this scenario, I'm asking Buttercup, like, can you have a little concern and shift your body towards it? You know, in this, you know, in your rock case, if the rock is on the right, can you go to a left bend and shift right towards the scary thing? Even if we have to go a farther distance from the scary thing to get that answer, I feel like that answer is, it like triggers relaxation and builds the confidence, and then you can get closer without needing to bulge away. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. And I don't even mind if they like need a wide berth from the thing, as long as they don't blow up.
Well,
Then that's
and
okay.
yeah, and a wide berth, if you choose to give the wide berth, no problem. To me, it's important to note where they are on their train tracks. So if you give a wide berth and you take those train tracks away from it and they stay balanced and over their legs and not leaning in or out, you know, in or out of you, then great, perfect. But if you choose a wide berth, but they still have to kind of lean into you and lean away from the thing. Oh, hello, another cutie. If they have to lean away from the thing, then you're kind of practicing them doing it not super comfortable. So yes, the number one goal is not getting run over. Clearly, that's number one. But to ensure you don't get run over in the future, we want to make sure that they're on the train tracks, not pushing one way or the other as they go by. And this is essentially how I'd hope that we can make that happen. So I will carry on the video a little bit.
might tolerate it, and then she's very touchy with me or touching the ground and very fidgety in that way, but won't actually engage with the item. She's a bit different when we switch to the other side. So this is her left side towards the bag. She's willing to get into a right bend banana and go towards it, and just in general be shapeable as I ask her to move towards it. Now we come to a little bit more resistance, we could say, when we ask the right side to come up to it. It's not that there's much resistance to coming up to it, but if I ask for a very precise and specific shape, which would, in this case, is going to be a left bend banana where her right side is going towards the bag, she gets a little uneasy, and she showed us some of that. Oh, like, let me touch you, let me touch this, let me touch that, but she is kind of avoiding the bag. there. She, with a little help, I had put my finger in her mouth and helped her loosen up a little bit here. Now she's interested in engaging with the bag. Now I'm going to ask again, can you step towards it and maintain your left bend banana? She will get towards it, and she's very willing to park and relax and reset herself, but she's not quite in a left bend either. But I'm going to give her some time to get used to that blowing around close to her. It's close enough now that it can touch her as it blows. I purposely ask her to back away and see if we can get a closer again with a real left bend banana rather than coming up totally straight. So I'm thinking, where is her weight above the train tracks? If her feet are on a left bend train track, where is her weight? Here she's in her chest and she's not willing quite yet to shift her weight to the right or towards the wall and the bag. Many would say she's not scared of this bag, and I wouldn't say that she is, but she's not 100% with me either. She feels the need to protect and not go with that request I'm making. And so I don't force the issue, but I show her ways to follow my lead there and how to get comfortable enough to follow my lead. My ability to shape her this precisely is what tells me whether she's with me or not with me or somewhere in between. Most often they're somewhere in between, and we want to get them really with us, and we practice that at home in these kinds of controlled environments so that when we go out and about and the world happens, they know how to be with us 100% regardless of what's going on. So there we saw she was able to shift her weight away from me towards that bag. I'm able to let go, and she still stays close and has a relax and drops her head a bit there. I'm asking her to get even closer. This would not be a level that I'd be asking for. Very good step there on a horse that was having a hard time with this to start. She, as we saw, was generally quite calm about this when we started. So we're getting very specific and asking her to go deep in her ability to connect and follow my lead with this item around her.
Okay, so I didn't ask actually, if you were kind of referring to on the ground or in the saddle, or is it just in general? Either way, because this clearly is from the ground.
Either way, but mainly under saddle because I'm not really worried about getting hurt on the ground. I mean, yeah, it can still happen, but for me personally, it's more likely to happen under saddle.
So under saddle, and I guess this answer is still the same, even if you're on the ground, it's easy to be like, yeah, in the moment, it doesn't look anything like that. And sure, it would be also easy for me to say, well, that's why we prepare and practice, so it looks like this in the moment. But at the end of the day, I feel like you're going to find a place, whether you're in the saddle or on the ground, far enough away that you can get that specific of a conversation going.
Yeah.
And if you can't, then that's, you know, that's where you have to, I would be questioning, not sure I should be on at this moment. If I cannot find a way to stand still and then make a bend and just generally have a little baby leg yield. If we were doing exactly what I was doing in that video from on her, we would just be doing little baby leg yields. Can we scoot over towards the thing and actually be cool with it and not be flinching away from it, you know? So finding their ability, whatever distance that is, to get to that level of thinking and shift away from me and then bring it closer. And then in that process, you'll learn how big your birth needs to be, you know, so that then you're asking the horse a yes question, that they can say, yes, I can take that track and not lean away from the scary thing and kind of be floating off, you know. Again, it's just important to think of it as, yes, surviving that one moment is important. It's the number one important thing. But if we're not super precise about it like this, you're building in those moments to keep happening over and over and over again if they don't get all the way to that truly with you adjustable spot, especially over something like a boulder, you know. I mean, I can see, I know boulders scare horses. They do. They're kind of creepy looking when they just show up out of nowhere. But also there's other things we could encounter that are far scarier, you know what I mean? So feel like a boulder is a really good opportunity actually, because it is fairly under control. It's not moving.
Forward. I mean, we have a bigger problem if it does.
Yes. If it's a bear that she's worried about, we're in a different deal. So, you know, it does happen with a boulder, and you have the ability to take the time to get that level of specificity that we were talking about with Buttercup in our preparation exercises there. Take it, because you're going to teach some important lessons with something that you can actually kind of control, which is sort of rare on the trail. I feel like there's not that many things under our control out there. So anyway, do you have any questions for me on that so far? Shall I move along?
I think I'm good. So basically, in summary, in that moment, I should ask for her to do a little something else to bring her attention back to me and get her back on the train tracks.
Yes, and you know, in the very first moment where she's frozen and you're having to kind of interrupt that distraction, it may not be like you're going right into a leg yield feel from that. You may be working on park for a minute and doing maybe, you know, touching a rein or making a noise on your stirrup iron or petting her or slapping your leg, something like that, until you get some ear flicks, and repeating those till you maybe get a breath and a little bit longer, this much longer of an attention span. And then from there thinking leg yield. What I like about the leg yield, if that's even what we want to call it, is I feel like it's a very complete answer. If you're only playing the ear flick game, or oh, did they lick? Oh, did they lower their head? You are getting a pretty good bit of information. And they are probably going from like being way too activated to more calm. But when it comes to like really building confidence and really addressing long-term responses and feelings, that leg yield tells you where the mind and the body is. Like, it's not going to go smoothly if you don't have any of the parts. So can you pick kind of any activity request from them to bring their attention to you? Yeah, you can, but make sure that whatever you pick, before moving on, you want to pick something that really addresses all their parts, meaning mentally and physically. You know, if you just, again, think of just parts in front of your saddle, there could still be some tension and some feelings that haven't yet been expressed. We could say they're hiding in the hind end sometimes, which is a little bit of a vague way to say it, but you get what I mean. I think, you know, there's you're getting you're asking the whole body. You're getting a very complete answer when you do this. Can you leg yield? Can you think of me? And relax, all those different layers, you know? Are you actually okay with that thing? Or are you just trusting me? Because trusting you is important. But if that's the only thing and they're not actually okay with the moment, you're not using that moment to build a ton of confidence in them. You are building your confidence as a leader, which is super important. But ideally, we want them to be so confident they don't even have to require us like that, you know? So it's just another layer to it. Making sense to you? You're welcome. Mickey, you have any thoughts to add there? I know we've worked on things like this a time or two.
Yeah, it's a really good reminder for me that confidence in me isn't enough. Like Logan is really, really fantastic on trail. And when there's something that's upsetting, like a dirt bike, we worked to a point where he put his trust in me, and we handle dirt bikes the same way every time. Any motorized vehicle, we pull over, we turn, we face it. I put my hand on his withers, and I ask him to stand.
Mhm.
And we worked into that because when we first encountered motorized vehicles, it was a little bit of a shit show. And once we started doing this method, all she said is, this is how we handle it, and I trust her.
Yeah.
But really, it's not enough. That ideally, I could have stopped motorbikes or ATVs or vehicles on trail and let Logan engage with them. And sometimes we do that. Sometimes I get the luxury of somebody stopping and saying, oh, sorry, we didn't see you. And then I say, oh, well, can we approach you?
Mhm.
But at first I thought the horse just putting their trust in me was enough. And it's a really good point that over time, everything goes better once they say, oh, whenever I've put my trust in her, everything's okay. And I can explore these objects and there's no issue.
Yeah, it's you know, it's certainly not to discount how important that trust in us is, because it's the number one, as we said, number one thing. But you know, if you want to put the grandkids on one someday and they don't know how to be that leader, it's
Right.
it's kind of the next layer. You want to get to that next layer of bomb-proof horse, you know, if there's such
Yeah.
a thing. But
So always,
yeah.
so the good reminder is don't just take the trust in you. Always take the time, like if you can ever take the time, especially when it involves other people, like bicycles even, ask if
Mhm.
your horse can interact. Say, oh, if they stop and they acknowledge you, at least getting that interaction is really good.
Yeah, yeah, so they feel like, man, I didn't even, next time I might not even need to question her because I lived, and I didn't just live because she held my hand. I lived because I truly 100% got comfortable with that thing, which
Right.
you know, when they start to think that about a couple things, it doesn't take long before that's just who they are. They just,
Right.
you know, and then the reaction, if they ever do have one, is just so easily influenced, you know, so
Right. Yep.
yeah. Anyway, you have a new question for me, Mickey? I haven't seen you in ages. No new questions for me?
Well, you're going to get plenty of questions on Friday from Tom.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Because I haven't, you know, we've talked about leading and keeping the horse soft and paying attention to tempo, but we haven't really talked about specific bend or how to feel little tiny resistance in your horses and adjust yourself. Tom did say, man, I'm a lot worse on the right than I thought I would be. And
Yeah.
you know, Tater's pretty balanced. So I was like, well, she's good on both sides. So she's going to compensate for you.
Yeah. I'll teach you how.
But
It's fine.
yeah. So I don't have any, if I have any questions, it's because of my environment. So, and I think
Yeah.
before the summer break started, I told you something I'm really noticing with the mares that are at turnout is that they happen to get a little buddy sour.
Mhm.
It's not even buddy sour. I want to say they get herd bound. And
Mhm.
it's not to any one other horse typically. And so what happens is we're working on trailering and we get someone in the trailer and it's just a big game. Everyone hops in, everyone hops out. My God, 4 horses will crowd in there and then someone will want out and they all have to get out. And the change happens when I actually load one horse and tie them and leave with the trailer. Everyone is quite upset.
Yeah.
And it's just a herd bound. They're a herd and they all want to be together and they all want to be doing the same thing. So making a conscious effort of changing their daily routine
Mhm.
so that it's all okay.
And I think that's the perfect example of why you have to balance out the leadership side too, you know, yes, we want a horse confident in themselves, but that is a prime example. If they're so confident in themselves, but it's not quite strong enough in you, that also can become a problem. Like in this situation, we all know your horses love their life over there. You know, they're living the good life. It's easy for them to feel like, oh man, don't change anything. This is great. And then we have to be able to be right in there. I'm the priority now. You've gotta take that leadership and not feel emotional about it, which is not an easy task, certainly, as you know, when you give them such a good option. When their other option away from you is so good, it really pulls you to stand.
Yeah. And so part of my concern is not, you know, we're getting really good at whenever one horse is haltered and I'm taking that horse, first off, it's a struggle to keep the other 6 away. You know, they're all right there. But once I have that other horse loaded or separated, whatever I'm doing with that one horse, the other 5 or 6 are all excited and running about, and I don't want to say panicking, but they're letting me know that they're unhappy with the fact that I've removed one of their herd members.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest challenge I have is that while I'm handling one, I'm not influencing the other 6.
Mm-hmm.
Who are all at liberty running around. And so
Yeah.
my biggest issue is trying to establish the correct way to deal with those other 6 so that behavior doesn't continue.
The first thing that pops into my mind, and hopefully I don't get too winded because we do have only a few minutes. We have about 8 minutes left, I think. But right off, one thing I think you could do, I mean, a very obvious thing I think that may not be an option is to tie up the one and go deal with the others. But if that one is not okay with you leaving them in that moment, an option might be doing groundwork in the space with your one caught horse on the halter, but don't leave yet.
Okay.
So it's kind of a way to do groundwork with the loose ones and bring that one with you and start to, like, you may have seen me do things like this when introducing a new horse to the herd. I may just go out there and march around with my flag, not flapping or being scary or crazy unless I need to protect myself or something, but just out there walking and being and get them just going around till they finally just make a shape, whatever it may be, and just start to be able to walk around. In the beginning, as you start to do that, when they're all excited and they're all crowding around and they know it's coming, you know, when you first say, okay, I'm moving, we're all going, off we go, they're gonna fly off and be all emotional, and you just keep on walking, just like till they turn into kind of a flock of birds, you know. Then you've got one on the halter, the others are loose, they can go do what they need to do, the other one's just toting behind you. And then once everybody is calm with that, then go out the gate. They go back to crazy, you come back in and do it again. It's like building, it would be like building if one didn't want to leave the herd, the same way you would kind of work that, build the distance, get them to relax their nervous system, same kind of thing. You're just basically working a bunch of horses at once. And obviously you can only be so specific with those loose ones, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to ask those horses things. You just have to own your bubble and move and move.
Okay.
And just keep
well, so
moving,
I could, you know? Yeah, so I could put all 6 or 7 in the arena, pick who I'm working with, and just use the whip to direct the 6 that are loose and work with the one that I have tied.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know, you know, Josh Nickel talks about in his program how he'll work all his horses loose like that, and he just decides my intention is on this one. That's who I'm talking to, and he, as best he can, ignores the other ones until they all are just like kind of sitting out of the way and he's talking to that horse. And I wouldn't recommend doing it loose. I feel like with some of those youngsters you have and things, you know, keep one on the halter and then do what you need to do because you have so much space there. It's not like you're in a round pen. So yeah.
Yes. Well, and maybe, you know, maybe putting them all in the arena and then picking the one to remove from the herd is a little better, because I mean, the arena's not that big.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. I was thinking either your arena or that, I feel like there's like a paddock that's good sized too, near
there is a
your,
good, yeah,
yeah.
there is
that
a
you
good
could
sized
kinda do
paddock.
it in.
Yes,
So-
and I do have a 60-foot round pen up there, but 7 horses in that round pen, it's not enough space.
Yeah, no, not, that's too much, I would say. If you were gonna try to go that way, I would do it one at a time, but I think that doesn't necessarily speak directly to your problem, which is like, it's gonna take care of the crowding. It's gonna take care of the crazy when you go out. It's kind of like that crazy when you go out starts with the crowding, you know, they all just kind of need to
Yeah,
end the cycle before you even go out the gate. So,
right. Yeah, I would
good
like, no
question.
matter who I take, yeah, I mean, no matter who I take out the gate, I want 7 calm, focused horses. And I usually have 1 horse who knows they're being taken out and 6 crazies saying, where are you taking her?
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Oh, man. Christina, you have any final thoughts on that or anything else?
Well, I was just gonna let you know, I'm still working on mounting. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I've sat with her at a mounting block without actually mounting on her so many times. And mounting is still the scariest thing that we do, or most annoying. And
Okay.
anytime I put my foot in the stirrup, she just wants to go. And
Mhm.
the biggest thing, like the biggest problem, is her butt swings away from the mounting block. Like, I'm short. I really want to use a tree stump or a block every time.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
end up like putting my foot in the stirrup from the ground and like jogging to kind of just get on the horse and trying to get her to stand and just chill out. But then it doesn't work. And then I feel like I'm just fighting with her and she just walks away.
Yeah. So now, well, I will say quickly that I think that the mounting thing is one that it has to be done in the preparation before you're on the trail, in my opinion.
Totally.
Now,
You're totally right.
just now that means that I know you don't necessarily ride at your home a lot. So if she's, you have to find somewhere that she can stand quietly. And if she moves away when you're practicing, you energetically don't get frustrated and don't focus on getting on. And I know you kind of know that's the answer, but it's easier said than done. I know. But I would keep parking them at the mounting block the same way I did the obstacle in the video. Just keep, oh, can you scoot on over there softly and park? Oh, we got tents and we moved away. Can you softly go by the thing? Let's walk away. Let's reapproach it and do it again. Because she's moving her butt away specifically, and we could try to talk about ways to talk to her butt and tell it not to move away. But at the end of the day, it's moving away for a reason. And that is that she's kind of, she's already tensing up. She's already not wanting to be there. Just continuing to do that leg yield. I also do some things with circles and things around the mounting block that I'll have to make a video. Maybe for the next one, you make me a video and I'll make you a video on that.
Yeah.
Which would force you to practice at home.
Yes.
So there you go. It'll be multi-purpose for everybody.
Yes, I'm a fan.
All right. But seriously, you don't have to wait till the next one either. If you take a video, I'm happy to help you. I may still use it, but I'm happy to help you sooner. So take a video. Yes.
Tamara, Friday, when we bring Sass, I am going to mount her and ride her while you walk her. And
Perfect.
you can make a video of us if you would like.
Oh, love it. I love Sass, so I'm all
Because
over it.
Sass has a little anxiety about that whole process.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do it. I'm in.
All right, Christina, you got a good
yes.
example.
Perfect. So we are going to run out of time in 1 minute. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining me on my birthday. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys soon.
Thanks, Tamara.
Bye,
Yes.
Nikki.
Bye, Christina.